Prophet ﷺ was the just when it came to creation. He never wronged anything. He never wronged anything, never caused injustice. And the only time that he would accept any form of aggression as a last resort would be to spread justice. And any fair-minded Orientalist, if you've read any of the critique people who write about the Prophet ﷺ, anybody who's fair and objective will say, Karen Armstrong is an example of a writer from this country who wrote about the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, a prophet for our time. And she did say that this was someone who could not tolerate injustice and would not do anything, and he hated war and he hated violence. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told him that in the Quran. كتب عليكم القتال وهو كره لكم وعسى أن تكرهوا شيئا وهو خير لكم وعسى أن تحبوا شيئا وهو شر لكم والله يعلم وأنتم لا تعلمون. That at times fighting has been prescribed for you, at times, and you detest it. You don't like it, and Allah doesn't either. But there may be times where you hate something and there is good in it for you. And there may be times where you love something and it is evil for you. And Allah knows and you know not. If a man walks in with a machine gun right now and starts shooting at everyone here and ends up killing about half the people in this hall, and you try everything with him and he's continuing to shoot, and then Fuad and I, for example, jump on this man and hold him and try to just beat him up so that he would stop killing the rest of the people here. Did we use violence or not? We use violence. Now, could we say that's good violence or bad violence? Obviously praiseworthy violence. It was good violence because we saved more violence from taking place. That's the only violence Islam sanctions. That kind of violence where it's actually causing good on the planet. Now, there are times where you might hate that. You might hate because you don't want to go and hurt that man. It is in your human nature. You don't want to. But you don't want to see the rest of the people die either. And so you might hate something. You'd hate to do it. وَهُوَ خَيْرٌ لَكُمْ. But it is better for you because you wouldn't have been able to live with yourself knowing you could have done something to prevent the loss of innocent lives, and you just sat there with the false righteousness, this false righteousness, claiming that it was more righteous to not do anything. That's not right. You're lying to yourself. You were too weak to confront reality. That would have been Allah's hands removing that man at that moment, saving the rest of His creation. That is the only understanding of jihad that traditional scholars have ever spoken about. It is a lesser evil to get rid of that greater evil if that's the only way. If that's the only way. It's to get rid of oppression and tyranny on this globe so that true peace can prevail. Not a handicapped peace where some people are enjoying and others are oppressed, but peace and equilibrium back on this planet.
When you're out in battle, you have to respect the conditions of fighting. Abadan. One companion, he was out fighting the man, he was about to kill another man. And then the man struck him with his sword that hurt him. And I think that was Imam Ali radiallahu anhu. So the companion lifted his sword up, and this time he wanted to kill him with more aggression. Suddenly he stopped and walked away. He left him and he went away. The companions asked him, why did you leave him? He said, because before I was fighting in the cause of Allah, when Allah only commands us in justice. But when he hit me and hurt me, I wanted to kill him out of revenge. But the Prophet ﷺ taught us for 14 years with practice, so we may have manners of war. Which religion, which society has that as well? So he used to say to them, behold, we have been sent a people to take the people from the worship of created things to the worship of the Creator of all things, and to save the people from injustice into the openness and mercy of Islam, and to bring justice to the earth. Do not kill an old man amongst your enemies if he is not fighting you. Do not kill a woman who is not fighting you. Wallahi, even if she is in the ranks of the enemies. Do not kill a child. Do not cut off the branches of trees. Do not kill an animal. And do not ruin soil. And do not be excessive in killing. Do not mutilate the bodies. And look after the affairs and the conditions of war. And if you hold captives out of this war, then feed them from what you feed from your family. And treat them well as you would treat a guest. For they are your captives and you have power over them. And Allah does not like people who have oppression over the weak ones when they have power over them.
And what's interesting to me about war and religion, because it's a paradox, religion, of all the religions, Islam is most associated with militancy. It's seen as a militant religion. And there's certainly a militant aspect about Islam. Muslims are people. Solzhenitsyn said when he was in the Gulag in Siberia, and he wrote this. It's a very beautiful passage in one of his books. He said, of all the people in the Gulag, the one people that refused to be subjugated by the Russian guards were the Chechens. They would not submit to the humiliation. They always stood up and they would fight. And he said, and the unusual thing about this is that they actually gained the respect of the Russian guards. And the Russian guards had a type of fear of them. Chechens, the name for their capital, Grozny, is fierce. Tolstoy wrote a book about a Chechnyan mujahid called Haji Murad, about the nobility of the Chechnyan warrior. Chechens are a very free and independent people. And one of the things that Islam teaches is never to be a slave of anybody but God. Never bow down to anybody. Honor people, respect people, but never allow a person to abuse you. That's at the essence of the Islamic teaching, because you have been ennobled by God, according to the Quran. All of the children of Adam and Eve have been ennobled by God. We have a human dignity that is essential to our nature, our character. And in honoring that dignity, we must honor others. And in honoring that dignity, we do not allow ourselves to be dishonored. And the Prophet Muhammad said, a believer does not humiliate him or herself. So that's something very essential. And that's why the Palestinians are a resistant people. It's difficult for them. And even if they lash out in heinous ways, if you don't understand what is the essence of that, then you're missing the point.